were born ready, don't you? Hell yeah. Welcome for the first time, guys, to our Quebec radio show Prescription Punk Rock. Of course, I hope this prescriptions end well, because in one of those on your songs, you talk about prescriptions, but not the radio show. Anyway, guys, for people that don't recognize your beautiful face or voice, who the hell are you?
I'm Donald from Versus the World, and my very, very good friend Tony. Say hello.
Hi, everyone.
Tony plays guitar really well.
Hell yeah, guys. It's amazing to have you on Prescription Punk Rock. There's records that was released on May. But before getting into the band and that project and that new records, I'm curious, maybe we can start with Tony. How music came to your life when you were a kid, and how did you start discovering music? And maybe there were people around you that influenced you through the quest.
Oh yeah, my dad was a musician. He was a drummer, jazz drummer. So I was exposed to that very young in the house. Like from his playing and just his love of music. Just from a kid, it was a lot in the house, and that just kind of developed a love for it from there, and simple as that.
That's all it takes. One really good drummer in your house.
Yeah, there's a few of them. And you, Don, how did you start discovering music? Is there people around you that influenced you discovering
Yeah, my mom
them?
loved rock and roll. My mom listened to rock and roll every day. She sang. She had me in choirs, and so yeah, music was a big part of my life as a kid. And then when I started high school, I started skipping school with this guy Trent Gilbert, and because him and I would skip school and smoke cigarettes and go to Bill's Records and Tapes, that's how I found punk rock.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah, like Tony say, it's simple, but it make you wanted to do something and achieve something through that.
Yeah.
And how did you start playing, both of you?
I started playing in bands when I was really young. Just played guitar. We did like a talent show, but that's not as important to me as how I started playing with Tony. Tony, was it Cupcake? Tell that story. That's the most important part of me playing music. Is playing music with Mike D and then playing music with Tony. How that came to be.
Yeah, I mean, that was just kind of a lucky situation for me. I mean, you guys were looking for someone to be a backup to Chris Flippin, and I knew Donald through playing music in Santa Barbara. He ran a bar where all the bands played, right? At the time, and playing bands and rolling through Santa Barbara. I met him and looking for a backup. Got connected through another band, and really just kind of fell in love with Donald and his music and the band, and we've worked together now for 10, 11 years.
We'll be best friends forever.
It's one of those you're stuck with me situation.
Yeah, I actually don't like writing music as much anymore unless I have Tony. So it is like a stuck with me situation. I love writing music. I do. It's one of my favorite things to do. But the fire isn't there until me and Tony get excited with each other. So for me, it's like, yeah, what it used to be like a very private endeavor is now has to be a project for me to get like really pumped about it. So it's awesome. I love it.
It's interesting that you bring that. Of course, you enjoy writing and creating music, but it's more on your own until you find somebody that you have that connection and that magic happen.
Yeah, I've never felt it quite like this, and now it's a thing where it's like for things to be their best. I don't need it, but I really appreciate the insight, and it makes it exciting. It makes it visceral. It makes it something I want to drink to. It makes it something I want to celebrate.
I'm curious.
And that's just music, right? I mean, that's just music, and punk rock in general is better when it's shared, right?
Yeah, totally. Exactly. Yeah.
It's true. It's true. And I'm curious, since you did book a lot of band, you saw so many of them, going through small, medium, or big, or broke, or whatever. What was the vision with versus the world? What different that you want to bring through what you saw through other bands? If you get my questions.
Well, I don't know what it is for Tony because he came into it later. So his answer might be different because he became like an addition. My thing was really just I wanted to just go on tour. You know what I mean? I had these songs and I had a couple of friends and I wanted to go on tour. So that was a much more humbling kind of start. Now that I have been on tour, uh, now it's kind of a simple thing too, where I just want to make songs that I really want to sing. And now when you see people sing back with you, it makes it even more fun. But really, yeah, it's just I really want to make very singable songs.
And the word is fun. It's that's the thing. I think music is kind of a living thing, and I think it's another proof, when you get together, it's something happening that it's not happening with everybody. But I think, like I said, the connection and getting people and the crowd reaction through those songs and that you wrote like for fun, it's just amazing. And those guys want to have more fun than you when they saw you having fun. And it's a
Yeah,
case
totally.
of who's having more fun tonight. And that's the beauty of punk rock, I think.
Yeah, I mean, and that's my perspective on it. That's one thing I've always said when performing live is I just try to have as much fun as possible on stage because if I'm bored up there, if I look like I'm bored, then who's gonna give a fuck, right? Like if you watch someone that doesn't look like they're having a good time, what are you even doing there? So I want to look like I'm having so much fun performing that people are get like jealous. They're like, I wish I was having as much fun as that guy.
That's good.
And then it's just kind of like it'll engage them, right? Like so that's my number one goal. Just like Donald says, like you want to sing songs that you like to sing and that people want to sing along. That is something
Yeah.
we focus on heavily. Donald is like we gotta have a chorus. This chorus isn't good enough. Write a better one. People need to sing these songs and just gotta have fun. Like
yeah, and when it hits, when it gets to that point where you're like, okay, it's singable.
Yeah. Yeah, it's another thing, I think that like normal people, not the one involved in the scene or the music addict, they love songs because they can sing it, and I think it's kind of important that it's catchy and it's stuck in your head, because there's a lot of band that go with the raw thing. It's cool, I love it, but sometimes it needs a little pop powder through that to bring something that people want to sing it loud. And when you play those songs, you see the reaction and everybody singing and just having a hell of great fun.
Yeah, I'll be right. 1 second, guys. I'll be back in 2 seconds. I'm only leaving for a minute. Hey, Sarah, will you answer?
Yeah, well, it's done.
I'm back.
How quick you are. Don't worry,
Yeah,
I can edit that.
Perfect. Yeah. Had an emergency. Had a dog trying to eat a bee and he barfed. Guy.
Yeah, I get it. Oh,
right.
Hello, buddy.
It's Ringo. Hey, Ringo. No more eating bugs. He eats bees and then he chokes and then he just blah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How old he is?
He's 2. I have 2. I have Ringo and Woody Guthrie. I named them after musicians. So I named one after Woody Guthrie, who was a country star, and then I named the other one after the shitty Beatle.
Yeah. Yeah, I know him.
Ringo Starr.
I mean, we can have a separate conversation about the genius of Ringo Starr one day, Donald.
You're right. His Octopus's Garden just threw me off.
Oh yeah.
No, I'm not his songwriting. His drumming though. We can talk.
All right. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. I'm being a dick.
But
I did name my dog after him.
Did you say the documentary? I think it's on Disney Plus. Was released a year and a half. I think it's Get Back, and it's the process of the last records. But it was beautiful to see them work together, and that song in particularly, when Ringo was joking around and George see it, in the cafeteria, and he's looking at him like, what the hell? And then he's working on the on the progression of the songs, and it's cool, man. And I think
Yeah, I
that's
need
what
to follow up
magical.
with that. I didn't get very far. I watched it until George Harrison quit. Oh, sorry. Maybe if people haven't seen this, I guess it's common knowledge. When George quits the band, that's how far I am. When he tells them, "I'll
Okay.
see you around the clubs." So I guess I'm halfway through season one, but yeah, I freaking love the Beatles.
Yeah, they're amazing. Yeah, it took me a lot of years to really dig and got the revelation they call, but it happened like maybe 8, 10 years ago, and you got that's the it's like Black Sabbath when you get into music. It's kind of the basic of everything. You can find something through those two bands that will follow you the rest of your career.
Yeah, the Dio Sabbath album, we talked about this on tour, is my favorite Sabbath album. And it's not an Ozzy album, so I know that's not a super popular opinion, but it's the best. Like Heaven and Hell, I think the Dio records are my favorite. Tony, does that fit with you or no? I know that you're a metal guy. Is what I said bullshit?
No, I mean Ronnie James Dio is amazing.
Okay, yeah,
There's
that's my
no
favorite
doubt
Sabbath.
about that. Yeah.
Because I know Pat agrees. We were on stage, and you would say on stage, "Whoa, why is it Heaven and Hell? Like, what is the best Sabbath
Well,
record, and why is it the Dio records?"
he was just trying to get a rise out of Chris Flippin.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I had a conversation with him about Black Sabbath. I remember clearly, but yeah, I saw Dio is he is amazing. I saw him before Iron Maiden, and we were joking. It was the first time that Maiden bring a really good first part. Through the time I saw them for the last 20 years, where normally they play the card of not well-known band, not that big, so they get like all the explosion when they get on stage. But yeah, so and I'm curious, like through times, is it writing music is more easy or more natural, or it's still a huge challenge for you guys?
Ooh, I think that it's challenging in a way that we want to do something new. Like, like we'll go through, like if we're going through a new song, we have to make sure that it's not a chord progression that we've done before. It's less challenging now, I think, because musically we're better at this thing. We're better at our craft. And Tony has a gift where he's also really good at the computer. So he'll demo a full song. Like if I have any ideas or he has any ideas, we send them back and forth. He puts them into like he records them really well. He demos it so that it makes it easier to sing. So I think it's just getting easier and better as technology catches up and as kind of our work ethic gets tuned and our musicianship gets better. So it's just kind of getting easier.
Yeah, I mean, like it is and it isn't, like it uh, from a technology standpoint for sure. And our process is different, Don. Like we said, it's like we used to go in a room and play everything really loud and like hope it sounded good, right? Like I couldn't really hear what the vocals are doing, and I'm writing guitar parts, and you go in the studio and like, well, none of this shit works. We got to rewrite everything because you never hear it. Now we demo stuff out and we just use GarageBand, man. But like we demo stuff out and like, oh, I can hear all the melodies and all the parts and put them together. So the process is easier. We've learned a lot, like working from work. You learn little tricks and little things every time you go through the process of writing an album. And we learn little things from Cameron Webb, who produced our last album, and just these little nuggets of knowledge you get from these producers, and you apply those things into the way you approach songs. But then from an abstract creative standpoint, it's like, well, I don't want to go write the same thing. Like I already did that. Like what am I going to do now? How do I make it different? How do I make it interesting? And that can be like you're really pulling that out of you, trying to figure out, fuck, what do I want to do? Where's that spark? Once you get that spark, doing all the little knobs and turns and details will just flow. I mean, that's what we've experienced, Donald. Once we get an idea, we can flesh it out in no time. But it's getting that thing, that vibe, and once we get that vibe, then we know where to go with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Technology can be a great full toys for Ben. And I think that explains why, you know, through the last 10 years, 15 years, Ben had never sound that better. I mean, if the Misfit would have the technology, I'm pretty sure the first Misfit record would sound amazing, but it's not.
I don't
It's
know. They still
jam,
didn't know how
and
to play
I'm
their
not
instrument.
bashing the Misfit. Those songs are pure jams, but they will not well, you know, well record, and because of the money. And but now, those band and those garage, they can do something with that sounds really good. And I think it's kind of important, the sounding. I'm reading Greg Graffin, biography, his book he wrote, A Punk Paradox, and he's talking about, he doesn't care a lot of stuff, when it comes to punk, but it have to sound good because it's important. And I think he's right. When people pay to see you, they have to sound good. And the records also.
Bad Religion always sounded good. Like if you go back to to Generator, like the bands that were are like coming out like at that exact same year, it just doesn't like they just had the recording know-how. They had the songs. Like Bad Religion was the first time that punk just started to sound like California punk. It
Yeah.
That to me that was the beginning and of a really beautiful thing. Bad Religion is maybe like, and I've got to see him 3 or 4 times now because I live close to LA. Here, Zach, we called Enrique, but for me, that's the beginning of when California had its thing.
It's
Just to
so
get there.
true. And they fucking struggle a lot to get the thing together. They really rush finding show and everything. And there was a time where punk rock was just going down and deeper, and it was violent, fucked up scene where people were doing really shitty drugs. But it's great to see that through that it inspired a lot of bands to keep on going. And of course the circle jerks behind them because of Greg Edson. And yeah, it's amazing band, and it's cool that they still have the fire, man, after all those years. Saw them.
Yeah, fully.
So the new album is out since May. I love the records, and I mean it. It's freshy. It's it's we said it. It's catchy. It's fun records. How was the process of recording? Did the pandemic accelerate anything for the release of that records?
It didn't accelerate it. It made it drag out forever. I mean, if it weren't for the pandemic, we wouldn't have been able to write it the way we did. Like I mentioned before, I mean, being able to have to change your approach and not just be a bunch of sweaty guys in a room breathing on each other. We had to do it a different way, back in 2020, and that helped us create a different process. But then it was a matter of time to. We wrote the songs in like 9 months, but then it was an issue. It was a matter of getting in the studio and working with Cameron, and then timing the release and all stuff. So it's why it took 3 years. But it slowed things down in a way. Well, I don't know, I guess. But once we got in the studio, that's when things got fun, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, we wrote it and we took a year to do it, and it was a lot of fun, like spending because we just spent time at each other's homes. We will never have that much time to make art again. We're not going to have a year where we can just concentrate on our art. And yeah, things got laggy, with like trying to get us. When we were ready to record this record, every band was putting a record out because every band did what we did during the pandemic. So there was a long line for vinyl, a long line for people getting studio time. But no, the pandemic was a special time because I think the whole world got to press pause, and we got to figure out why we wanted to be, if we wanted to be in a band again, and it was badass. I'll never have a year that good and that important probably ever in my life.
It's cool. You took something negative and changed it into something positive, and it gonna influence a lot of people and change a lot of people's life, and that's the important thing. So it's cool that you did it, and you went straight for it. Because there's a lot of band that said, no, man, we didn't do a shit during the pandemic. It was so chaotic with Zoom meeting and everything. So it really, like, it's different for everyone. But
Yeah.
I think it's good. But you're right. But you can blame Rihanna, I think, at that point, and Sony Music for the vinyl thing. They pretty buy everything, and it's kind of rough for everyone right now. But still, and by the way, who did the artwork, and how did you choose the artwork of the album?
The artwork is a friend of ours, Casey Pickard, took the band photo. My girlfriend took the back patio photo during the pandemic, but the front photo is me and my father. It's the only picture that that it really we have of like just me, my father, and my mom. So I don't know who took that picture. They don't get a photo credit, but yeah, that's a photo of me and my old man. And then the
Wow.
inside, yeah, it's all just photos of us and our dads. Uh, Tony's recently passed away. Chris Flippin's father passed away, so it was kind of like I don't know. It was I feel like it was important to put it in an album for us. I think it made everybody feel complete when the thing was done.
Yeah, well, I mean, and what's the reason for that, Donald? I mean, like, what do you address on the album?
Well, because the record is about my father and my relationship with him, and my divorce and my relationship with my children, trying to maintain a good relationship and to be a good father. So the record is steeped in a theme about growing up and not having a man and being a man. I know that gender's dead, but that my journey with being a father and not having mine. So having everyone's father in the album was very important for me and us.
It really touched me too because I'm 41 and I'm going to be in that journey in less than 10 years. Seeing my father is 65. So yeah, you start asking questions because I have kids, how much time we got with him. And when we see those story like you guys losing your fathers, it's a huge part of your life that it's taking off. And that generation and our generation, every generation struggle with their problems, but they didn't talk that much. It was more about working and defining yourself through work. I think our generation is more through our passions, and that's why we still look like, teenagers at our 40 and 50s. But yeah, and I think it's a good choice. But yeah, it's I get it.
Excuse me. I think that our generation, we're all going to be flawed. There's not going to be any social security left for us, this and that. Uh, and I think that this album kind of addresses for me that my kids will be able to complain about a lot of stuff, but they're not going to say that their dad wasn't there or their dad was an asshole. So
That's so cool. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I feel you. I have my first one, my little girl. I've got her when I was 28, and I was more involved in the radio show. And I think it was a bad decision, but I was young, and now I've got another kids, and I'm all there, and I'm still there for my daughter that is now a teenagers. But you learn through that process when you get kids when you're young, and there's no book that explain you what to do. But yeah, it's the most important thing. So it's cool because it will touch kind of everybody, and it's subjects that make you think. And I think it's beautiful in that way. So it's an important record, I think, this year's.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. I like hearing that.
So how's gonna be the rest of the year for you guys? There's a fucking sad news with our friend Chris. And there's a GoFundMe right now that people can, if you have money, go help Krish, man. It's really he did so much for so much people. It's time now, and we hope he get very well. But how's gonna be the rest of the year for versus the world?
We just booked up a little California run with Diesel Boy. Flip will not be on that, and I don't believe that he's going to be on the Lagwagon tour as well. I think he's going to have a whole adjustment period because of not being able to tour is going to really rattle him. And so we're taking our guitar player will be Gavin. He's a very close friend of ours. He's in a band called Senses Fail, and that'll be the closeout for our years, California, and then we're going to go back to Europe early next year.
That's cool. I spoke with the Diesel Boys. They're back, and the new record it's fucking amazing. And that's another thing. SBÄM is such a beautiful family, and they really took, you know, they're still Epitaph Patrick, of course, but SBÄM is blessing themselves in a really good place, and it's so cool to see all those bands get way more recognition than back in the days, and see that people are overwhelmed. So it's gonna be a fucking great tour.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. And SBÄM, whatever. I always say SBÄM, and I know that that's wrong.
Yeah,
But
I'm
these
struggling,
guys,
but I'm French. I'm good. I can make mistakes.
these guys are music fans.
Yeah,
When we decided to put the record out with them, it was because like Stefan, like they love our band. And now they've come to my home. We've spent time together. We've become friends, and I'm glad that we went with them. They like punk rock, and they're doing this thing only because they love the music that they're hearing. So having their support uh, is a genuine support, and it feels really good. I enjoy my time with them, and I enjoy doing business with them. I like that we're on their record label.
yeah, the scene have changed a lot. Of course, we grow old, but there's less, those people that want to make money through punk and everything. It explodes. There was a lot of money, and it kind of, and sadly, not end, but it kind of went on a pause through like 2004 to what, 2010 almost. And then it's getting back because the music is good, and the people that do it, they do it for the fucking right reason. And when it's meant, and when you put your heart and passion, it works. And I think that those guys, that's what they do, and it's beautiful. We have people of punk rock here that kind of do the same. Thousand Island Records, Stump Records. It's really cool. You cannot do everything. It kind of sucks when it comes to releasing, distribution, and everything. So to have an help and people that you can trust, and that's the thing. I think we're in a scene that people can trust way more each other than back in the days where
Yeah, for sure.
it was
Yeah, but
different.
if you're young and you're starting a band to make money, just stop now. If you want to go on tour and you want to make records, that's one thing. But if you're looking to pay a mortgage, I mean, it's not going to happen. They're already like, there's not going to be another No Effects. There's not going to be another Bad Religion. Like, do this because you love it. You're not going to make money. I mean, if just go have a nice time. If you make money, good. But we're just here to have a nice time.
But yeah, you're right. But kids are there. There's gonna be another NoFX, but it's gonna sound like what we think. And I think that Flail Records really nail it to what young kids love. It's really a getting back to folk roads, really simple music with simple instrument. But
Yeah,
days and days are going great, and I think that's why Mike signed them. They're actually, it's kind of a buzz. But there's the chats, man, from Australia. They're nailing the world, man. They're kids. They're playing garage songs. It felt like, and yeah, there's a new generation coming. There's hope. It's gonna be different, but yeah, but it's will not be about the money, like you said, and that's
yeah,
the game changer.
for sure. Days and Days. Interesting you say that. Our bass player really loves that band. So they just kind of came onto my radar pretty recently.
I I prefer Escape from the Zoo, which is the Jess other project, and I think they started up at the same time that project. But yeah, really interesting. Flail Records are releasing great band, and we felt that it's a new scene, a new win, and it's cool. I think we
All
need
right,
that
cool. I like
too.
it.
Guys, thank you so much. Of course, we invite people to go grab the records, buy it. Again, encourage Chris Flipping. I think it's the most important thing right now. Then get the records and go catch them live. We're gonna wait for you guys in Quebec City. We hope to see you somewhere next year. That would be rad.
Yeah, Canada is tough to get to. Trust me, if we can get there, we will. I have a little bit of trouble just being led in the border, but whenever we can circumvent that, we'll make sure that we're there.
Yeah, I'm sure we can work something. It would work for a lot of bands, but yeah, yeah. Fuck Trudeau. God damn you, man. That versus the world came to our country.
It's been a while, but we'll try to come back. I promise.
Yeah, we always have a good time in Canada. Play some great shows there.
So cool. Guys, have fun with the tour. Again, people go grab the records. If you don't have money, we get it. It's tough time. It's everywhere. Every platform that you can think of versus the world is there. It's the same name for the records. And guys, thank you. I mean it. I have such a great time, man. We have to do a part two, and we're going to wait for you in Canada and Quebec, of course.
You got it, buddy. Yeah, check out the record. It's called The Bastards Live Forever. Thanks
And
for your time.
Yeah, we do. Thanks for having us.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, guy. Bye. Thank you.
Prescription is what you need. No more inhibition. Set yourself free. Just let go. That's my only plea. I'll confront prescription.